Well, week 7 was certainly a kind of interesting one in the National Football League. But here we are once again to go around the league and talk about week 7, the week that was in the 2023 NFL season. So before we get things rolling, there were a few teams that were on bye-bye this week, taking their week-long vacation before they come back to finish the round robin for the rest of the season for the next month, 2 months and a half. So those teams were the Panthers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Texans, the New York Jets, and the Titans. So they're going to be coming back later this week for week 8. But for now, let's talk about week 7. So we started things off with Thursday Night Football only on Amazon Prime Video for that $15.99 a month, pal, as the Saints came back from a 24-9 hole in the fourth quarter to tie the game up. But Calvin Ridley took a check down pass from Trevor Lawrence all the way to the house, and the Jaguars prevented extra football with the goal line stand as they held off the New Orleans Saints 31-24. Going to the Sunday slate of games, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense finally got cooking, were red hot from the start as they completely tamed Jared Goff and the Lions with a big first half to run away 38-6. Deontay Foreman notched 2 goal line touchdowns, and corner Jalen Johnson sealed the Bears a blowout victory, quote unquote blowout, over Brian Hoyer and the Raiders with a pick 6. And the Bears, with Tyson Bagent, yes, Tyson Bagent, ladies and gentlemen, beat the Raiders 30-12 in the ultimate mid-off. The Colts had multiple chances to close the door on a late Browns comeback, but ref ball struck again, and Kareem Hunt paid dividends for the Browns with a goal line touchdown as Cleveland stole Indianapolis with the win 39-38. Despite a bevy of fourth quarter mistakes and giving away the lead late, the Patriots took it back as Mac Jones drove down the field late and connected with Mike Gesicki, his tight end, with 12 seconds left to pull off the upset over the Buffalo Bills 29-25 and granted Bill Belichick his 300th career win. The Giants sacked Sam Howell 6 times. Yes, 6 times. Ouch. But still had to hold off a furious 2-minute rally from the Washington Commanders at the end as the Giants, minus Daniel Jones, snapped their 4-game losing streak 14-7. Desmond Ridder overcame 3 fumbles to put his Falcons into a winning situation as kicker Younghoe Koo lifted the Falcons past Baker Mayfield and the Bucs 16-13, and all of a sudden, the Falcons are in first place of that very awful NFC South. Going to the afternoon slate of games, the Steelers offense finally came alive in the fourth quarter as Najee Harris and Jalen Warren each scored a rushing touchdown and literally snuck away with the win over the LA Rams 24-17. Despite coughing up a couple of fumbles on offense in the second half, the Seahawks defense assured that Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals couldn't take advantage of any of those opportunities as Seattle beat Arizona 20-10. The Packers looked to come back from 2 separate deficits, but unfortunately, Jordan once again showed no love for his offense as he threw another interception under 2 minutes to go as Denver notched their first victory at home this season over the Green Bay Packers 19-17. Both Kansas City and the LA Chargers, both of them looked primed for a shootout until the Chargers, of course, their opportunities to take the game in the second half as Patrick Mahomes' late pitch pass to Isaiah Pacheco shut the door on the clip Chargers 31-17. Then, of course, you had the Sunday Night Football game of week number 7 with the Kelly Green, the throwback Philadelphia Eagles, shaking off a really bad third quarter pick 6 from Jalen Hurts, which was deflected as the Eagles went past the Dolphins with some big second half passes from Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown and being all tushy-pushy about it as the Eagles beat the Dolphins 31-17. Then you had the Monday Night Football game of week number 7. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings office torched the 49ers top-ranked defense very often as defensive back Cameron Bynum sealed the win twice for Minnesota with 2 picks on Brock Purdy as the Vikings upset the 49ers 22-17. So that was your game slate for week number 7. Let me know your thoughts on each of these games, whether your team won or lost in the comments below. And let's talk about my winners and losers for week number 7. So starting off with my winners, the Baltimore Ravens offense. Looking at them, they kind of looked on and off, very inconsistent. And I think I mentioned this. They were trying to get through those growing pains, trying to get everybody involved, whether it was Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, Nelson Aguilar, even the running game. That was a lot of mouths to feed. But it seemed like in week 7 against the Detroit Lions, they finally had that signature performance, finally getting everybody involved. And it looked like their offensive coordinator finally found a way to, do exactly that. Finally find that balance. And it happens to come at the expense of the Detroit Lions. So, yeah, it seems like all the pieces are finally coming together. It may be a little too early to say that, but that was a very good performance by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Then you had the New England Patriots. At least for 1 week, the Patriots finally looked like they have some signs of life in all 4 quarters. They came out firing from the gun on offense. Mac Jones and his side of the crew, they showed some fight against a very beat up Bills defense. And defensively, they battled Josh Allen all game long and managed to get an interception on their first play of the game. And even if the Bills managed to get back in the game, the Patriots responded right back and came up with a clutch play at the end. So they in my opinion, they may or may not make too many strides. I wonder if they can be that consistent. But hey, this still has to at least feel good for them. And now for my losers, the Washington Commanders. This is the kind of reap what you sow kind of deal when you don't invest in your offensive line. And I get it. Sam Howell has his moments of holding on to the ball for too long. But I mean, what can you really expect when your starting quarterback doesn't have a lot of experience and he needs to get out there, gain that experience? But you got to help him. You didn't help him out by getting an offensive, not getting an offensive line to protect him. So that broken offensive line, as a result, allows 6 sacks in one game. I think they allowed even more than that in another game. And now they're on pace to break David Carr, previously of the Houston Texans, in their first year of existence of being sacked 76 times. That's a single season record, ladies and gentlemen. I don't use statistics that much or analytics, but I'm just pointing out there that the Commanders are about to break a record of infamy, and it's not even the halfway point of the season. They're literally halfway to breaking that record, and Sam Howell's body is about to get beaten up so bad, ladies and gentlemen. Is that bad? And then I look at my San Francisco 49ers. They really needed a bounce back performance in week number 7 after coming off their first loss of the season in an ugly loss to the Cleveland Browns. But there was no, aside from the offense, Brock Purdy, had a very bad interception at the end, but that was the less crushing issue. The big crushing issue was their defense that allowed over 300 yards of offense and were unable to sack Kirk Cousins once. There was not a single sack. I don't think they even touched Kirk Cousins once in that game in Monday night. I don't know what Steve Wilkes was calling. It was just, there was nothing working for that 49ers pass rush that has so much talent on there, yet there's been no net results in the last 2 weeks. So now you've lost 2 straight after starting 5-0. You're 5-2. The Niners better find a way to flip the switch back to who they were. Otherwise, this season's going to go down real fast with the schedule that's about to get even tougher. And that starts in week 8 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you lose to the Bengals, the alarms are going to sound even louder in San Francisco or Santa Clara. So, staying on the topic of San Francisco, my one big takeaway from week 7 is these teams that have had pretty bad performances. You've looked at the Buffalo Bills, you look at the Miami Dolphins, you look at my 49ers, and even on the flip side, you look at the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, they have a pretty good performance, but some of them, you can look at them as frauds. Others, you can look at them and say, oh, did they peak? Did they break out? But you have to wonder if some of these teams are for real or legit. And in this case of the other teams, like the three teams that you mentioned, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Niners, are they frauds? Like, are they? Was their hot start even for real? And also consider the Lions too. So I'm just wondering. Yes, there's so much season left, and there's still time for these teams to like fix their issues that currently plaguing them. But in my opinion, it's like they're not necessarily frauds, but there's a lot of reason for concern for the teams that are currently in the mix for a potential playoff, AFC, NFC, even Super Bowl. For the Bills, injuries on defense, Dolphins, trying to match up with other top teams in the NFL, especially on offense. And then for my 49ers, defense, the defensive issues that are currently plaguing them. And for the Lions, well, they just got their butts whooped by the Ravens. And they can't do anything on offense. So still kind of early in the season, but for now, these teams are kind of looking like, very iffy. So yeah, that's my recap for week number 7 in the 2023 NFL season. Let me know your thoughts on, like I said, all these teams that have either won or lost, your winners and losers for week number 7. And what was your takeaway from this past week? Let me know in the comments below. So anyway, that is it for me from DylanLasagna, your host of Very Cold Lasagna. And keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen, the halfway point of this season. And sooner you know it, we'll be on to Thanksgiving, eating season of this season. But anyway, until next time, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge, and peace out.